Hi, YouTube family. Lisa A. Romano here, and today I want to talk about some of the ways that narcissistic personalities can confuse us when we're talking to them. One of the things that we have to get figured out straight out of the box is we have to understand that codependents, people pleasers attract narcissistic personality types. We attract them in friends, we attract them in lovers, we attract them in spouses. We just attract narcissistic personality types. The reason for that is because most of us who are codependent, love addicts, and people pleasers were emotionally abused as children. So number one, quantumly, we're tuned up for that because you can only attract what you know. You can only attract what you are on a quantum level. Okay, so on a quantum level, we can only attract what we are. And so if we're tuned up for emotional abuse, unfortunately, and if that is our model, so if mom and dad were narcissistic, if mom enabled dad, if mom was a people pleaser and dad was narcissistic and mom just was running around like a chicken with her head cut off trying to please this man, that's your modeling. So that's what love looks like to you. So when someone shows up in your reality and they're kind to you, you might consider them boring, you might consider them nerdy, you might consider them someone you can't trust because you're not that doesn't represent love to you, which is really problematic, dear ones, really problematic. The other thing is that we also develop roles. So if you see yourself as a people pleaser, you're going to attract someone who expects you to please his ass or her ass. You're going to attract someone who isn't tuned up for caring about other people as much as you are. That's what you're going to attract. So you really got to get that figured out, dear one. So if you is a people pleaser, it's time to rethink that. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, I want to just address how narcissistic people tend to confuse us. So I have had the pleasure or displeasure, however we want to think about it, of knowing or at least dating a number of narcissistic people. You see, I was a people pleaser because I was emotionally abused as a child by unrecovered adult children of alcoholics. So I came from a dry home. So I qualify as an ACOA. If you are watching this video and you came from a home where you felt invisible, you qualify as an ACOA. It doesn't matter. Become our brother, become our sister. It doesn't matter if mom and dad drank or not, if there was any alcoholism in your family. If you were emotionally abused as a child, you fall under this category. You will have the same symptomology we had: low self-esteem, can't finish projects, codependent, love addicts, just cling to people, very reactive, overreactive, enmeshed, can't separate, filled with guilt and shame and all that stuff. So very quickly, this is how my first narcissist, the one I was married to first, would say something to me like, I would say to him like, "So when are you coming home later?" "Oh, 5 o'clock." Now he said 5 o'clock. When he walked through the door at 7, I'd be scratching my head going, "Babe, you said you're going to come home at 5 o'clock." And he would literally turn around and say to me, "I never said that. Who said 5 o'clock? You must have misunderstood me. Maybe you wanted me to come home at 5 o'clock." Because I did not say 5 o'clock. If I said 5 o'clock, I would have been home at 5 o'clock. And I would be like, "Oh, maybe I'm crazy." So he would actually, over and over and over, these types of interactions caused me to doubt my reality. I thought maybe I'm losing it. Now, he was the type of narcissist that behind closed doors was not nice to his family. He was so much nicer to the outside world. And what would happen is that would confuse me and my children because daddy was nice to everybody else. Like daddy was running around for everybody else. So it was like having a preacher for a husband who was great to the congregation, but he was like nasty to his wife and his kids. And he never really cared about our feelings. He actually said to me, "I never thought about your feelings." And I was like, "What?" Because I'm an empath and all I do is care about your feelings. So I obviously attracted someone who did not care about my feelings because that was my experience as a child. Okay, so divorce him. Tragic, very difficult, and I don't mean to minimize it at all. Anyone who's going through a divorce, my heart is with you because it's excruciating. And anybody who hasn't gone through it, they don't understand how difficult it can be. Okay. Second narcissist was empathic to me on the surface, but he had an agenda. He was trying to claim me and suck me in. He wanted me to agree with him. It was sort of like he was trying to get it to seem like it was me and him against the world. And at first, it was really intoxicating for me because I was like, finally, someone sees me. But then after a few months, I was like, this dude is like antisocial. He hates people and he's a little paranoid. And so I had two different experiences, and that was a little bit more difficult to spot because on the surface, I felt like he saw me. So I felt like he had empathy for me. But the only reason he had empathy for me was because he was trying to glom me. He was trying to pull me in, sort of like if you looked at Hitler, right? And I know this is a ridiculous extreme, but Hitler to the Germans, he looked like a savior, like he was trying to save them, but he was crazy. He was crazy. He hated everybody else. But on the surface, he looked like he had empathy for his kind. And really what he wanted was he wanted adoration. He wanted them to follow him like a cult. And so sometimes we bump into narcissists that want us to follow them, want us to adore them. And it isn't about us. They really want to glom our attention and our affection and to feel like we are indebted to them. If I disagreed with my second narcissist, there was hell to pay. I mean, really hell to pay. Guilt, how could you? I've done all this for you. I help you. I see you in ways that no one else sees you. How could you disagree with me? And it was really, really mind-bending and confusing. And so the second type of a narcissist will twist what they do for you and try to make you feel guilty for having a different opinion. So dear ones, I hope this little short 7-minute video has helped you understand a little bit more about the different types of narcissists out there and what to be careful of. You can check my stuff out at www.healingselfesteem.com. And if you would like to coach with me one-on-one, you can contact me at healingselfesteem@gmail.com. It is my pleasure to welcome you to my work, and I bow to the love and the light in you, dear ones. Namaste.